Let's circle back to Plateau, shall we? As the national president of the Birom Youth's Murder Association, Barrister Solomon Diallo joins us from Jos for more on the security situation in Bassa. Solomon, many thanks for doing this with us. Can I just ask, what is really happening on the Plateau? I mean, what's going on? Tell us.
Yeah, Plateau, being known as a home of peace and tourism, has now been turned to a theater of attacks, killings, and massacre of innocent people by suspected men to be Fulani militants. And of course, having not come out of the experience of April 2nd genocide that was meted out on the natives of Hurti in Bokos local government area. This morning, we've woken up with another round of invasion that was carried out by same group known as suspected Fulani headsmen, who went into the village of Kimakpa, that is Zike community, and carried out a dastardly act that has resulted to the loss of 54 people and the entire survivors displaced. They overran the whole place and razed it down. And of course, the situation in the state is very pathetic because this has been a cycle of invasion and attack by Fulani headsmen as far as we're concerned. Because even as at last night, at about 7 p.m., there was an early warning to the effect that bandits have been brought from part of Kaduna, part of Bauchi and Nasarawa state into a place called Mahanga area and also Dorowa Babuje. And of course, lo and behold, at about 12 midnight, the people of Irigwe, native inhabitants, were visited with this dastardly act of terrorism as far as we are concerned. So the situation in the state is very appalling. And of course, people are crying and lamenting for justice. And of course, at the moment, we've not heard of any arrest so far made. But of course, there is a deployment of security because security were deployed to that area at about an hour after the incident because of the terrain.
Right.
Movement into that place.
Solomon, you said mobilization of security is being, done now, just an hour after the attack. But we thought that with the public mobilization from last week, where we saw stakeholders plus the governor come together to say that, security will be beefed up and would not see what had happened at Bokos community ever happen again. It begs to ask the question, what changed between that time and now? The period between Bokos, that stakeholder meeting, and Bassa is too close for this to have happened.
Of course, it has been like a recurring decimal and this the general expression that security are on top of the situation, which we cannot deny that one. But of course, in this particular incident, the attacker seems to have gathered more intelligence in terms of strategy, to see in areas that security are not covered, because security cannot be everywhere in Plateau State. And so they possibly took advantage of the vulnerability of the place, seeing that there are no security presence in that place. And so they move and strike. And of course, we wouldn't want to blame them because anytime that the native arise to defend themselves, you see, there will be arrest. People are not allowed to defend themselves. And that has always been a factor that is giving, the attackers an edge over native inhabitants or over residents on the plateau. Because once the Fulani camp, comes out for grazing, it has always been a strategy or a ploy to survey areas that have no security presence. And then, of course, after then, we will see that an attack is unleashed on the people. So that has always been their modus operandi. Most of the villages and communities that have been under attack, previously and in the recent time, have always witnessed influx of Fulani headsmen coming for grazing, and then they cannot send them away. If you send them away, they unleash terror on whoever is challenging that. And then, of course, allowing them to graze freely. It is also another way of allowing them to come and attack at any time. So that has always been the strategy. Otherwise, how would they have known that there's no security presence in that place? And then, of course, they can carry out this attack freely without intervention of the military until when there will be, deployment. And then by then they might have consummated their plans and then, fled away. So that has always been the challenge on the plateau.
Solomon, your submission now just somewhat mirrors your group's statement that was issued blaming ethnic sponsorship of the killings. Is that what you're saying? Are you saying that you have a bit of credible intelligence as to what exactly is causing this that we're seeing in Plateau when we saw relative peace earlier?
Of course, looking at the arrest that was made after the attack in Rui, that was an attack carried out on the 27th, day of March, when mourners gathered to mourn their loved ones, and then the attackers went and killed over 10 people. And then of course arrests were made by the security based on intelligence gathered. And then of course another round of attack was made on Hurti. So of course security must have arrested some of the sponsors of that particular attack on Rui, and that is what is now provoking the militants, the Fulani militants, to now come with another round of attack, so that it will prove to the world that if you arrest our own, we will definitely come after you. Because nobody will just embark on discriminate arrest without intelligence gathering, which I want to believe is one of the functions of the military in this operation, which has aided in terms of arresting situation, arresting criminals. And then it is very, very appalling and very disheartening based on another round of intelligence that has been given out that some high-profile, elite of these militants have now come into the state and are now making ways in ensuring that those people arrested are released with immediate effect. And of course, it has come to our notice, and our eyes are keenly watching. We are following up on the development to see whether those individuals will be arrested, having been, given credible intelligence as to. And then, of course, that intelligence, these are individuals that have been known over time in sponsoring and perpetrating these acts, either supplying arms to the militants or they themselves participating actively, in making out this mayhem on innocent Nigerians. So our eyes are widely open and our ears are on ground to see whether there will be release of those individuals instead of subjecting them to the wrath of the law. After thorough investigation, and they are found out to have been, involved in what is happening on the plateau.
Solomon, you have said a lot. One of them is that you have credible intelligence, and you are privy to some information. And so I have to ask you, what then will be the solution, a permanent end to the killings and violence? The Plateau people have seen enough. I think this is about time that they see peace, a lasting peace. What then will be a lasting solution to the problem of the Plateau? Very quickly, because we're pressed for time.
Of course, if it were an ethnic or communal clash or group clash and what have you, we can now clamor for peace and peace and dialogue, as medium of resolving conflict and what have you. But there is no conflict, there is no subject matter of this war or two conflicting parties. It is terrorists, bandits that are coming to attack innocent individuals who have not done anything wrong to justify or to kind of inform this, genocide and massacre of innocent individuals. So the solution to it is that a kinetic approach should be deployed maximally to ensure that the individuals that are perpetrating these acts are made to face the wrath of the law.
All right.
That is the major and then the primary, solution to this. And then of course, Plateau villages and communities have been overrun and currently under the occupation of these attackers. And nothing is seen to have been done. Why wouldn't there be a full deployment toward the dislodgement of these bandit elements from the state?
All right.
So that Plateau State can know peace as it has been known as a form of peace and tourism. Otherwise, it will be a recycle of violence, and it will invariably be an encouragement to the attacker to continue perpetrating this, crime against humanity that we are witnessing in the state.
All right. Solomon, many thanks for doing this with us. We're out of time. I wish we could continue. Solomon Dayo up there from Jos, giving us a bit of insight on the insecurity and the killings in Bassa local government area of the state.